It all began with a homeless child forced to sleep in a Grand Prairie grocery store parking lot, and a remarkable woman who saw him and refused to look the other way.
It really just kind of broke my heart that nobody was helping him. That, you know, I didn't understand why, number one, the community didn't know, and number two, why we weren't doing something about it.
Soon after, Angela Gessner founded the Lifeline Shelter for Families, and 13 years later,
it's providing a new start to real people that live maybe next door to us, maybe a mile from us. Maybe they go to church with our children or our grandchildren, and we have no idea of the crisis that they live with every day.
The word crisis is appropriate. It is estimated that nationwide there are more than 2.5 million homeless children, and the numbers have risen dramatically, both around the country and here in Grand Prairie, since Lifeline rescued that first child in 2003.
It's amazing how many there are. Since inception, Lifeline has helped over 5,600 people, 1,400 and something families, 3,700 children.
Children who become successful academically because we've created a stable environment for their families.
Lifeline's success lies in its mission, which from the start has focused on reducing homelessness among children in the Grand Prairie Independent School District by providing emergency assistance, temporary shelter, and life skills training for their parents.
Children who are very mobile, who move from one apartment to the next, or who move in with family members and then maybe in with a neighbor back and forth, feel a great deal of stress and anxiety, and they simply can't do their best at school.
Statistics show that if they're at school every day, their grades are better, their attitudes are better, they have a routine, and I think that's very important. And if we are able to keep the parents stable with the kids, we're breaking a cycle.
Behavior improves, attendance improves, grades improve once the family's stable.
A fact that has been proven over and over again in our community by people like Kevin Boley, who 4 years ago faced the reality of trying to take care of his 2 children after his wife abandoned them. Already experiencing extreme financial and legal difficulty, his situation snowballed. He had accumulated tickets and warrants, which led to him losing his driver's license and eventually their home.
I didn't have no high school diploma or GED. And you get to a point where it's like you either just want to give up, and you want your kids to have the best that they can, and if you feel like you can't do it, then you want to give them to somebody maybe who can.
I couldn't think of being away from my brother and my dad. I mean, I had already lost my mom at the time. She left, and I felt like they were the only people I could depend on. And I knew my aunt and my grandmother couldn't take us in, so there would be a high probability that me and my brother would be separated.
If I got separated from my dad or my sister, then I'd feel kind of like forgotten.
I couldn't afford even a motel, so I had to move in with a relative, and they already had their family, and there was probably, they had 4 kids in 1 bathroom, and with 2 more added, it makes it even more difficult.
Fearing his family might have to split up, he decided to confide in a guidance counselor at his daughter's school. And like an answer to a prayer, it was then that he was put in touch with Lifeline.
They paid my rent, which was the biggest struggle of everything. And right after they paid my rent, things started looking up. My kids had their own places to sleep. I was able to actually get back on my feet, a steady job.
With the skills he learned at Lifeline and a lot of hard work, he was able to earn an occupational license, which has served him well in his current job at Grand Prairie United Charities, where he drives the truck and manages the warehouse as their donation coordinator.
My kids have grown to be so many different things involved with church quizzing groups, South Grand Prairie Band. My son, he was a Cub Scout 4 years ago. Now he's about to be an Eagle Scout at the age of 14. They've also been able to not only stay in the same schools, excel, but now they're on the edge of going into high school this year and not only earning your high school diploma, but leaving with an associate's degree.
Kevin's daughter is actually the same age as my daughter, so I can see firsthand and how much she's blossomed from when they first came to us many, many years ago up until now. It's just, that's a success story. That's what I think we all do this for.
If it wouldn't have been for Lifeline helping me with that first step, I don't know where I'd be at or they would be at.
It's a compelling story. You don't really have to spin it anyway. You just have to say to somebody, hey, you can make this child have a successful future.
I want to be a marine biologist and or an engineer.
Me myself want to be a domestic animal veterinarian because I can help teach people how to care properly for animals, and I can also show my passion towards animals along with that.